I'm really excited to introduce my friend Emma Riley because culture change is her focus, has been her focus, and she is the head of brand development and strategic partnerships for Lonely Whale. Lonely Whale is an organization that was founded just a couple of years ago. I met you all in Paris when it was brand new, 2015, and they are engaging the public on changing consumer behavior, changing what is acceptable. And most recently, Lonely Whale led a campaign. They're leading the Strawless Ocean campaign. They had a sub-campaign called Strawless in Seattle, which resulted in the permanent removal of more than 2.5 million plastic straws in Seattle in just 1 month, while ushering in policy change in Seattle. So it shows you the power of how we can change behavior along with policy change at the same time. I'm very grateful to have Emma with us to lead this conversation with some real change makers who are already implementing key solutions that we need to scale up and replicate and learn from with our friends here on the session. So with that, Emma, please join me on the stage. Are we having the whole panel coming on up? All right, great. Thank you very much.
So my name's Emma Riley. I am our brand strategist and director of global partnerships at Lonely Whale. Lonely Whale is an ocean incubator. We're a nonprofit organization, as Amy mentioned, and thank you, Amy, for having us. We launched ourselves about 4 years ago. Adrian Grenier, an American actor, and Lucy Sumner, an American film producer, realized that there was a disconnect between marketing, advertising, entertainment industry strategies, and ocean health. And if we can connect the two worlds, we can create behavior change. So thanks for having us, and I'm really happy to be here. Holly? Yes. You're okay. I want to make sure that you're ready to jump on stage for questions just after. Okay, great. So we're going to take you to Away. Holly just mentioned Away. We need to realize, and she did a great job at setting this up, that Away does not exist. So we're going to take you on a journey to Away right now. My colleagues and I have very different backgrounds, as you'll hear about in a few minutes, but we've all been to Away. And it's I'm pretty emotional right now thinking about it because it's a hard thing to see. And it's a real thing that we all need to work on, and we can. So I'm really grateful to be on this stage with all of you, and I'm really grateful to be able to take everyone to Away and discuss some key learnings and walk through how we can communicate Away to our communities all over the world, here and elsewhere. So I will have my colleagues introduce themselves, and then we'll head to Away and discuss how we can bring Away here, if that works.
Great. So hi, everybody. I'm Jackowski. I lead HP's Sustainability Strategy and Innovation Programs. And I'm here with a colleague.
I am Richardson. Can you hear me? Yes. Oh, good. I am Richardson, Antoine. I am from Haiti. I'm the country manager for First Mile that we call Thread International. I'm really pleased to be here today.
Benjamin Von Wong, artist. The prints that are up for auction are going to this gentleman over here, so that's how we're all connected. Yeah.
All connected. And Lonely Whale, we're very lucky to have worked actually with each of these individuals across various different projects at various different points over the past 4 years. So, Ellen, I'll start with you. If you can walk us through your relationship with Richardson and with Thread. And then Richardson, if you wouldn't mind diving into the work that you're doing very directly with the communities there, sure. And what it means to work in Away, right? In that place, that space that Holly set us up with very nicely, what that looks like.
Great. So I'm going to tell a story about products that hopefully some of you have purchased in the past and hopefully some of you will continue to purchase in the future, and how that directly connects to stopping the ocean plastic pollution problem and dealing with the situation that we have with Away, and how do we start managing the materials that we need and want to use every day in a much more responsible manner, focused on circular economy thinking. So at HP, the way we think about sustainability is with this interconnectedness that Holly mentioned, of all of these issues are connected. the environmental sustainability of our planet is connected to the people that all live on the planet and want to consume its resources every day, which are connected to the communities that our products, for example, are affected by. So how has this interconnectedness come to the perspective of a company like HP? How do we take the programs that we run from a sustainability point of view and think about each of these three pillars and their interconnectedness to be able to do more and have more positive, sustainable impact in the products that we make? So one of the products I'm going to talk about is our Tango printer. It's a new consumer printer, and it's stylized to look a little bit like a book. It comes with some covers that you can put on your bookshelf at home if you don't want it to look like this big printer in your house. This is an innovative printer for us. It's a printer made from printers. When you buy a new HP printer, we also hope that you take your old printer that you're hopefully replacing and bring it to a place in the US, for example, like Best Buy. And oftentimes we'll offer a discount on a new printer for you to buy. We want you to bring that printer back to our retailer partners like Best Buy because we disassemble it and then create the new printer from it. So a printer made from printers with recycled plastic. We've set a goal to use 30% recycled plastic in all of our products, our printing products, and our PC products. But this is really difficult. How are we going to do this? The philosophy that we have, though, is it can't just be, in one hero product like this Tango printer. It has to be in the cartridges. It has to be in the paper that we're selling as well. So it's holistic circular economy thinking of how do we go further, replacing all the virgin material that we've used in the past with recycled content for all of our future products.
And how many years have you been doing this? Because I know it's been quite a while.
Sure. So, for example, in our ink cartridges, we've been doing this for over 15 years. So hopefully some of you in the audience have that HP printer, are familiar with our cartridges. We want those back. We want you to send them back to us. If you go to hp.com/recycle, we have lots of ways for you to get them back to us for free with easy drop-offs at places like Staples, Best Buy, Office Depot.
So I know you and I have been to Indonesia together.
Yes.
We've been to Jakarta. We've been to Oahu together in that country. But you work very deeply in Haiti with Richardson. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So this closed-loop recycling process that we have with our cartridges, we've been doing it for over 15 years. We use over 1 million PET plastic bottles that you can find in places like Haiti, in the away places where there aren't sources for clean drinking water. We use 1 million recycled bottles a day in our product. So one of the thoughts was, how could we extend the impact that we're having in a much deeper way than just sourcing it off of the North American plastic market? And this is where Haiti comes into play. And this is a canal, a very familiar scene from what was just shown, that you can find in many island locations where there's no municipal garbage collection, where there aren't clean sources of drinking water. And so all of this waste goes out into the ocean and comes back via the currents back into the beaches. This is another example of an event that both Ben and I were a part of, where we spent time in the North Atlantic Gyre snorkeling in the middle of nowhere just to see what's there. Plastic is there. Plastic waste is everywhere. So we know we can do more, and we know for us it's about job creation as well. So this interconnectedness between planet, people, and community. So I'm going to show a quick video that kind of describes it, and then Richardson's going to talk a little bit about the social impact that programs like what we've been able to do, reinventing our supply chain and extending it to purchase some of these PET plastic bottles from away to stop it, can have. So let's take a moment and view the video.
Haïti, c'est pays mnié. Pendant après 12 janvier, nous venons vivre en battante. Je ne sais pas personne, c'est mon cap. Continuer, c'est mon maman, c'est mon papa. Après, pour moi, c'est apprendre un bail pour arriver plus devant. mettez dans ballon. Moi voyez les ça. Pour nous faire plus moment, plus mouvement, plus passer ça pour nous capables de nettoyer le pays avec Pogina et Navamasia. Moi, je joins tous les petits amis qui viennent maintenant. C'est là-dedans nous payons l'école, c'est là-dedans nous payons l'école, c'est là-dedans nous voyons l'école, c'est là-dedans nous faisons tout le bagage net. Nous changer dans la vie, moi je viens entrer dans sa bouteille qui fait nous devons payer, nous payons qu'à payer OK, après ça, même dans plastique là, et puis nous venons continuer, moi je mettre à l'école et puis nous continuer avec. Ça fait moi mais parce que bon Dieu bon moi je suis capable de dire c'est ça que fait, moi intéressé.
Thanks, Ellen. I've seen that video quite a few times, and every time I do, it makes me so emotional. It really does. I mean, this is reality, and I hate to say it. I mean, where we are right now, currently, we're very lucky. This is not the reality for most people in the world, and we're lucky to have companies like HP that are able to partner with Thread, with Richardson's organization, and bring to life the stories. There's a session just after this on communicating stories, right? What narrative means when we're living in a culture that is so drastically different in regards to the environment all over the world. So Richardson, I'd love to hear a bit about your work with Ellen, with HP, and a bit about the stories, right? The positive.
Sure.
What's coming out of the work that you're doing?
Well, we met at HP in 2016, and since then it was really a great change in the supply chain and the collection in Haiti. As you could see, Haiti is a very poor country. In a poor country, when you're talking about the climate change, when you're talking about the future, nobody is really caring. Even the government doesn't really know about us. There's never been a forum like this in Haiti about the climate change. How you can talk to a climate change to somebody who's cutting the trees? He knows that it's not right. He knows that it's not good, but it's the only way he can put food on the table. But having HP join the first mile was really a good help for us, and it's a good hope. So as you could see, Rosette is the father. She said that she's the father and the mother of her family. That means she's the heart of the family. She's the beam of the family. She is collecting plastic for 9 years just to pay school for her children, put up food on the table, and then have some place to live.
So walk us through her day. What is her morning like? What does it mean to be a recycler? What does it mean to work in this system? Like, as an individual, what would you experience if we could take this room to that? If we can take them to a way, what does a day look like in Rosette's life?
Okay, let us say that I'm Rosette. Rosette is somebody that wakes up at 1 a.m. in the morning. She puts her headlights. She takes her big bags that we call super sack, and she goes to the street. She's living in Pétionville. Pétionville is a pretty bourgeois city in Haiti. She's going all the way down the streets to the canals and collect plastic. But of course, on top of that, she's not only collecting, she is an entrepreneur. She has people working for her. She is paying school, she is trying to put food on the table, and she's really strong. Rosette, I'm sure, like you, would like her kids to become a doctor, a scientist, a lawyer maybe, but she's doing something with dignity. She doesn't want that HP and First Mile give her a fish every day. She just wants us to show her how to fish. That's the reason she's not asking anybody, nothing. She's looking a way to work with dignity by wake up early in the morning and trying to find something. Rosette is really hard worker. She does everything. She puts the sacks, she segregates the plastic, she's the boss because she has employees. She is really determined. She teach to her children that As a Haitian born, you have to work hard. And the only way that you can change the world is to be educated. And her kids are educated through the plastic bottles.
So let's talk about bottles for a second. Just last year and the year prior, over 25% of all virgin PET produced was used for single-use plastic water bottles. Okay, just that. But let's talk about bottles as a whole. You see 3 different colors up here. Very few of us realize the process that it actually takes to properly recycle and or upcycle a single-use plastic water bottle or a bottle in general. So let's speak to that. What does it mean to clean? What does it mean to recycle? What does it mean to use various different kinds and colors of plastic? Let's talk about that process a bit and what it looks like both in your centers as well as in your products.
Yeah, so for us at HP, we're making black ink cartridges. When you buy an HP cartridge, it sits in that black plastic. And for our PCs, we often use dark colored plastic. So what that means is we have more flexibility in the type of recycled colors that we can use. We can use these bottles. We can create a market for these red and gray and brown bottles because we're making black. And if you remember from the color wheel back in elementary school, you can't make clear from these colors, right? You can't make clear plastic packaging, which is where most of the demand is. So by HP getting involved here, we're creating a brand new market for the lowest of the low PET waste bottles. No one else really wants this stuff, but we're creating a market, and we tried to do it in a way where there's a livable wage. So I don't know, Richardson, if you want to talk a little bit.
Of course, in terms of color and type of plastic, since HP joined First Mile, the change is that there was those colors that you're seeing there. Okay, there.
And I'll just say very quickly, because we refer to your organization both as Thread and First Mile.
It is the same. It's because
it's the
we're
same
exchanging
organization.
names,
So
actually.
if you're Googling the organization, Thread and First Mile, Thread is shifting their branding slightly to First Mile.
And social media, we can follow us on First Mile Impact and First Mile Made on Twitter. So the colors, those colors were really not valuable in terms of pricing. And here HP comes in, and then it changed the situation and doubled the price of the plastic. So it makes it more valuable. And somebody like Rosette is about to collect more and to have more collectors bring her plastic to make a living. So having those colors valuable actually is a huge change for the collectors.
So the need, the drive, the demand has created a livable wage. What else has it created? Education, health, you manage health, you monitor health in the various different spaces. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, when somebody has when you have your price of the price that you're selling is double, that's a big change. And that way you can pay school for your children, and you can have more people bringing you plastic, more people involved in it. And in terms of safety, if you're having a problem, anything happen with your family member, you know that you can respond because you're earning more than you used before. So in terms of safety, there are safety trainings that we give to the collectors, like somebody like Rosette. Every quarter, we meet with her and have a quarterly meeting with all the collection center owners, and then provide business training, safety and security training, so that they can know, because it's very dirty there. It's not really sanitary. We train them they have to wash their hands after using the plastic, and never put anything in the mouth as they're using plastic.
Yeah, I mean, I remember visiting. We spent quite a bit of time in Indonesia in particular. And Ellen, I remember you saying to me, these are actually not the worst of the worst. And again, it makes me extremely emotional when we speak to Away very specifically. I could talk about marketing and advertising and how to create first world behavior change all day long, and then you come to this and you head to Away, and it's an entirely different situation. It's a different story, and you have to approach it through a different lens. So I feel really lucky that we have a company that 15 years ago recognized that they could create change in various different places all over the world through product innovation, through supply chain innovation. And since then, has partnered with innovative organizations such as yours to really create social change, right? In that Away, at that place, that very few of us really ever end up getting to go to. So Ben, I'd love to hear from you a bit now. So we've gone through sort of the process to getting there. Pull us back out, take us out from Away. You've spent plenty of time in communities all over the world that have coastlines, like the coastline that Holly showed us. So take us there and then take us back out. How can we communicate that creatively? How can we speak to that in places where we may not all have been to away? We may not all have had that shift in our worldview.
Yeah, I think what you notice when you go to these communities is that it's all connected, right? Like, so the products that show up in these communities are not that different from the ones that show up over here. They're run by the same conglomerates, the same multinationals, and so while it may seem very far away, and you say like, well, we have our waste management all sorted out over here, why does it actually matter? What's actually happening is that the demand that we create, the habits that we have, and all these conveniences and these marketplaces are all just kind of getting interspersed, interconnected. So, you know, I get really inspired when I hear stories like these because they, like the work that Richardson is doing is like, that's the hard work on the ground, right? And that's the kind of stories that I hope to empower. But the only way to get people to notice and to pay attention, because these images are hard to look at. Once you've seen one or two, maybe you don't want to learn more about it. Maybe, like, the entry point, the cultural differences are so vast, and I hope to kind of bridge those through just creative storytelling. So what if I can just create something that's very entertaining, very sparkly, and then draw people into the conversation?
Well, you do have a Guinness Book of World Records acknowledgement, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Yes.
How close are you to the end of your
we
presentation?
can
Let's
go
play.
right there.
Let's play your. Yeah. Let's play.
So I guess I just want you guys to know. So the video, the prints that you guys are going to be bidding on are actually going to real impact. So it's always hard to draw the correlation with what is the value of art, right? What would you rather spend $10,000 on a piece of art, or would you rather spend $10,000 supporting an organization like this? And I think to be in a situation where I can be able to offer up the work and you can have both the art and the impact at the same time is kind of one of those kind of connections that I hope to bridge. But I have a video that I just thought would be really interesting to show you guys because it's maybe a little bit of that bridge of these two worlds kind of intersecting through the lens of art, and I think that's the role that art can play. So
Yeah,
maybe we can just like play that.
Yeah.
Nature is struggling. 8 million tons of plastic in our oceans.
I have become addicted to plastic.
We all know about the last straw, right? That last little push in the wrong direction. The wait, stop, wait that won't stop. We can take no more. It climbs on top, and suddenly, everything collapses like a wave that rises high, then crashes, and this is where we are right now. I mean, we all know the stats. A truckload of plastics in the ocean every 60 seconds. A straw used for just minutes exists for 450 years. By 2050, there'll be more plastic in the sea than fish. We get it. And I know, the last straw, it seems like such a tiny thing to tip us over, but it's not. Because it's not about that straw. It's about the way they all add up. And that means to take care of all of it. You don't take care of all of it. You focus on something. Each of us, one thing, one effort, one repeated action at a time. And when you think about it that way, the last straw is no different from the first, just one part of a process, no better, no worse. After all, the last straw in one direction is the first straw in reverse. Sometimes we have to move inches to go miles, but with each straw not used, we can smile knowing we didn't contribute to a pile that breaks the back of the ocean, but invested in the notion we can bring the ocean back. And your last straw is the first straw towards that, and that is how it always works. One small action becomes a movement in the direction of a solution. Of course we can stop this straw apocalypse. We caused it. So now we either do the right something to fix it or the right nothing to pause it. And that's what the last straw is. Nothing. Just enough nothing, though, to push us in the wrong direction or the right one, because a straw is such a tiny thing until we don't use it. And if each of us refuse it, just watch how quickly all of that nothing adds up.
I think that's kind of the power of art, right? It's fun. It opens up a conversation. It doesn't have to just be the facts, and the facts are important because that's where the attention can go. But you know, this is kind of what I mean, as an artist, I struggle a little bit because the value of art only lies in two big domains. It lies in entertainment and it lies in advertising. And this entire marketplace for impact, for work that matters, for things that help expand the ecosystem to tell the stories that are important doesn't really exist. And so if you guys know of anything, or, I mean, I think Lonely Whale is kind of a really interesting bridge between the two, because you guys take the corporate partnerships, you take the impact, and then you do have the art activations. You have this plastic museum going on, I think.
We do have a plastic museum
working on it, and so those are the cool connections.
They are, and I mean, I would love to talk about our work, but really what I want to sort of acknowledge is social change, social change, social change. So while we're talking about single-use plastics, and we're talking about away, we're also talking about social change, which ultimately triggers behavior change at an individual level, and is an important place for us all to play when we're talking about the environment as well. It can be done through corporate engagement. It can be done through impact created at an organizational level on the ground with communities, and it can be done through creative communication, artwork, marketing and advertising as well. So Holly, would you like to come back on stage? I'd love to, we have about 5 more minutes. I'd love to open this panel up to questions from the audience. If there are any, we probably have time for 2. If I don't see any hands, we'll continue talking. We are very happy to continue talking. Right, but we love to talk with you. So I guess there are a few hands. Oh yes, okay. And can you say your name and where you're from, and sure. Direct your question at a member of the panel?
Can you hear me? Okay. Hi, I'm Tanya Voigt. I'm from North Carolina. Spoke yesterday from Duke University. I wanted to know, it just occurred to me with your points you're making about the colors and using black, could there be any benefit to mandating, and I know that's kind of an impossible word, but to one color, would that help? Like if we can start using one color of plastic, or companies can commit to, I'm gonna start using black plastic because I can use everything and not have to go through all the other effort of finding a way to use it. So just trying to find ways of using the product that would make it easier to get it out of the atmosphere or environment.
Hi, I can speak a little bit to that. Just at least one comment about black plastic. The way HP and Thread are using it does make a lot of sense. But we have to be really careful about black plastic. Like when you buy black plastic forks, cake forks or something, a lot of that, if it is recycled, comes from electronics. And so they can be full of lead and heavy metals and all kinds of other problems. So you want to really be careful about black plastic.
So, but I guess the question, is the question from a consumer perspective or from a corporate perspective? Are you saying if corporates created a demand for black plastic, such as the supply chain innovation that HP has produced, there would be then greater change generated? Or are you asking if we as consumers went straight for black plastic in terms of what we're purchasing, what we inevitably purchase, would that be better? Can you just redefine?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, think about, there was one point where we said we can't use red dye number 2 anymore. So it's not so much about using black plastic per se, but it's the picking up on all these different colors that are used, and what does that do in terms of being able to reuse the plastic? So if we really need to tackle the problem, should we say, we can't color our plastic anymore. It's all got to be one color because it's going to make it easier to get it out of the ocean.
So let's speak to the demand for black plastic when you're looking at supply chain innovation and incorporating it back into your products.
Yeah. So I think the key is, one, when can we eliminate using plastic?
Yes.
Let's look at that first.
Good.
And that's what we're trying to do at HP. In any case, particularly in our packaging, when we can shift from using plastic packaging to molded pulp, we're looking to do that. Then we're also looking at facts like these color choices. A lot of our printers today are white. And creating white recycled plastic is very difficult, and it's also very expensive. But we've recently innovated a new white recycled plastic that has over 70% recycled content. So we're innovating every day on colors and the technology and how to do stronger optical sorting and automating some of that so that we can move into this fully circular economy. So technology is changing. In terms of doing some sort of like regulatory movement like that, I think it really is about this mindset shift in the consumer of how can you communicate back to the brands that you buy and purchase from what is important to you, and how you want your product created. What kind of materials are you interested in? So in terms of regulation, I probably would stray away from that, but it is up to companies like mine and many others to figure out how to leverage the technology and the innovation to do that. And just to Holly's comment about the lead and plastic, we have incredibly strict recycling guidelines and material testing. So for us, we have ways around that, and that technology exists.
Can I say one other
Yeah,
thing?
please.
Yeah, I just want to pick up on what Ellen first said, is that though this is a really exemplary example, if I can say that, of corporate extended producer responsibility and trying to be more circular, at the same time, what Ellen said is that the first thing is to reduce the supply and use of plastic, period, right? So we're not going to get out of the plastic problem and all the inherent other problems that I listed, and there are others, unless we really reduce the amount of plastic out there. And I will just mention also that away, because I didn't say that, away isn't just in Haiti and other countries that we might not be in very often. Away, as I said, is inside of our bodies, right? Away is the plastic we're breathing in. If you have a black plastic water bottle, that heat is going to make more of those molecules of plastic dissolve into the water for you to drink.
So I'd like to be sure and answer if there are any more questions, at least two. So I guess right here in the very front.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Patty Costello. I'm here representing Zero Waste Boise Institute. Sign up for the free newsletter. I just read an article recently in my Sierra magazine about how the fossil fuel industry is realizing people are moving to alternative fuel vehicles, electric, hybrid, and so their market there is dwindling. So they're realizing their new market is in plastics.
That's accurate.
How do we stop that?
That
And
is
then they have
accurate.
this bait and switch where they're saying, well, we care. We want to reduce this. At the same time, that's where their new fossil fuels, and I know Holly touched on this.
So, I mean, I'll jump in here and say that there have been very recently some really positive signs in terms of large corporates shifting away from single-use plastics. Coca-Cola and Pepsi have both made announcements within the past 6 months, Coca-Cola this week, in regards to their single-use plastic bottle distribution and work that they're doing. Whether or not that is enough, it probably isn't. I think the answer is probably threefold. It absolutely has to do with consumer behavior, which has to do with creative marketing, creative campaigning, and the work that Ben is doing. In direct relation to offering innovative alternatives, such as the product that Ellen and HP supplies. And when that comes full circle, and you're looking at social behavior as well, I think that there's a movement to be made. And that's really how things shift away. To get a little bit more specific, you're right, they're ramping it up over 30% within the next 10 years. The southern part of the United States is the part of the United States to be really concerned about when you're talking about plastics and endocrine disruption because of the production that will take place over the next 10 years. So maybe if you have a second, I know that's a pretty big jump from what our panel discussed, but I think it's important to speak to.
So on the petrochemical expansion,
Yeah.
plastics and petrochemical
Yeah.
expansion, well, I think what you spoke to is important, and as I tried to get to, there's both supply and demand ways to try to have an impact on reducing plastic production, use, and waste, right? So we need to change our consumer behavior. We need to put pressure on companies. We need to divest from fossil fuels, right? We need to do all the things that activists are doing to keep fossil fuels in the ground, et cetera, and we're getting the end sign.
We do have to stop. But I would say that if you're looking to get involved with organizations that are working on the ground in the United States in the areas where this plastic will be manufactured. If you're looking to volunteer and or get involved in an organization, that within the United States is a really important area to pay attention to, and it will be over the next 10 years. Okay, thanks everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you.